Hi, I'm Charlotte from Nurture and Thrive, and today I want to talk about something that I hear from a lot of parents of neurodivergent children. Why is it that we sometimes get a disproportionate overwhelm response to a very small incident? Perhaps it is a meal that wasn't planned. Perhaps it was a change of family plans. It can be really simple request that's been asked of them that was fine one day but not fine another. The reaction seems disproportionate to the situation in front of us, but the important thing to understand is that the moment itself is not where the overwhelm started. Overwhelm is often not that final trigger. We need to look at patterns before that. It's about everything that the brain and the nervous system were already managing before that moment happened. So let me explain what I mean. So every moment of every day, our brains are receiving huge amounts of information, whether that's light, sound, movement, conversations, instructions, emotions, changes happening around us all the time. And for many neurodivergent children, including autistic children and children with ADHD, their brain may be processing this information differently. So environments that feel manageable for one child may be requiring far more effort from other children. Now, filtering. One way I like to explain this is to imagine your brain like an email inbox. Some brains have a really effective spam filter, and lots of information gets sorted automatically before they even have to think about it. But other brains receive more information and more messages into that inbox. Now, none of this means that one brain is worse than another. It simply means that brains are doing different types of sorting. Now, sorting tasks takes energy, and neurodivergent brains are having to sort and process more information than neurotypical brains. Then we need to think about load. Throughout the day, lots of small demands can add up. It might be a noisy classroom, it might be a tricky transition from one part of the day to another, it might be trying to concentrate, it might be managing friendships, holding instructions in mind, and each one of these might seem small on its own, but together they create additional cognitive load. Then we need to look at capacity. This is why the final trigger that we see before overwhelm can be misleading, because it wasn't necessarily the homework that caused a big change, or it wasn't necessarily the unexpected meal that you might have cooked that evening that created this overwhelm. It might simply be that in that moment, there was no capacity to deal with this unexpected change or deal with whatever issue it was that had presented itself. And when we understand this issue of filtering information differently, causing additional cognitive load, and reducing our capacity for processing information, we start to understand things differently. And we can stop seeing this big reaction as being too big or being too difficult, and understanding what is it that is draining their capacity. And that takes us on to the response. And that changes basically how we respond when we are faced with overwhelm, because we understand that it is mounted up over time. Now, this is not about removing every single challenge for them or trying to make the world perfect. Children need challenge. They need these opportunities to grow. But when they are surrounded by an environment that creates unnecessary friction, so they are having to process more information than their neurotypical peers, they are left with less capacity for things that really matter, things like learning, relationships, confidence, independence. All of those things are reduced because they have not been able to manage the cognitive load and increase the capacity available to them at any one time. So next time your child has a reaction that feels bigger than the situation in front of you, try asking what else is their brain already having to manage today, and look for patterns. Because understanding what sits beneath that behaviour, that overwhelm, is often where the real change can happen. This is how we change the narrative from what seemed to be wrong to what's very much possible for young neurodivergent minds if we get the understanding and environment around them right. If you'd like to understand more about executive function, emotional regulation, and what's happening in your child's brain, my Executive Function Explained free guide might be useful for you. I'll leave a link in the comment below, and do feel free to follow me along on social media. See you soon.